Hi, I'm Taya Williams. Thank you for joining me here on Taya's Sweet Aroma. Today I am going to be sharing with you the recipe for my homemade marinara. Italian food is not only my favorite food to eat, it's also my favorite food to make. You can take something as simple as, say, a box of penne pasta, and you can add so many different ingredients into it. I mean, it's so versatile. Pasta dishes are just so versatile. You could add in some beef, you could add in some chicken, even some seafood. And then there might be those times that you want to keep things a little more simpler and just add in some marinara, maybe some parmigiano, and then tear over a little basil at the very end, and you have yourself a meal in under 15 minutes or under 20 minutes. And that's something I really appreciate about Italian food, especially having a bigger family. On those nights that I'm a bit more tired, I can, if I have this marinara sauce on hand, I can whip up dinner in under 30 minutes, maybe make a salad on the side, serve it along with some bread, and I'm done. And so before I get started, or as I'm prepping the ingredients, one thing I want to get started right away. I have my oven set to broil. I'm going to go ahead and get my red bell peppers in the oven because I want to get them nice and roasted. As they're roasting, I'm going to be turning them around, making sure I get all the sides of the peppers roasted. The reason I am doing it in the oven is because I don't have a gas stove. Now, if you have a gas stove, you can get your tongs and just kind of turn it over the gas flame, and that will char it up for you as well. So as I'm getting the ingredients prepped, I'm gonna go ahead and get these red bell peppers in the oven so that I can start the roasting process. And that way, when I'm done with this and going over the ingredients with you, we can get started making the marinara. The ingredients you're gonna need for this marinara is some San Marzano tomatoes. I highly recommend using San Marzano for this marinara. It makes a very big difference. Now, if you cannot find them in your store, you can go ahead and use just some whole peeled tomatoes will work. In this bowl, I have some granulated sugar, some salt, freshly ground black pepper, lots and lots of garlic, some basil, which we're gonna add in at the very end, bay leaves, the red bell peppers that are still steaming up so I can get that skin peeled away. We have some onion as well as some extra virgin olive oil. My bell peppers have now had a chance to steam in the bowl. I'm gonna go ahead and start peeling them. What you wanna do is, I like to do them over the bowl because I like to keep that juice to add in with the marinara as well. So mine are still a bit hot. Hasn't quite been 10 minutes. I'm kind of being impatient, I guess, today. So you just want to get all the skin peeled off of them. All the skin is now off the bell pepper. So what you want to do, again, over the bowl to keep those juices inside, just go around the center, get that core, and then you're also going to want to get these seeds out. Allow your pepper to cool a lot longer than mine so it can be easier to handle for you. So you just want to get all the seeds and then go ahead and add it into the blender. Now, as soon as I'm done with this one, I'm going to get the other one peeled up so we can move on to the next step. To my pot over a medium-high heat, I'm just adding in my extra virgin olive oil along with my onions. Gonna get them stirred in. The onions have been cooking now for about 5 minutes. You can see that they are nice and translucent. I'm gonna go ahead and add in my garlic, get it stirred around. The garlic has now had a chance to cook with the onions for about a minute. I'm gonna go ahead and stop it at this stage. To the blender, along with the red peppers that I peeled up earlier, I'm gonna go ahead and get all this added into it. Also to the blender, I'm gonna go ahead and add in half of my tomatoes. And my recipe is being doubled. So what you see in this blender, you'll have half, unless you decide to double up the recipe as well. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get everything pureed nicely, and then I'm gonna be adding it back into this pot. Everything has had a chance to get nicely pureed. It looks a little orange right now, but that's because of the onions and the garlic. but once we get the rest of the tomatoes in, it will be red, just like you expect marinara to be. Okay, now that we have that step done, we can go ahead and start getting in the rest of the ingredients. Something you may want to do differently if you choose is you may want to puree the whole thing. I like to puree the first can with the onions and the garlic and get it nice and smooth. That way I don't have chunks of onion and garlic running throughout my marinara. And then with this part, I just like to lightly break up some of these tomatoes. And that way my marinara has some texture to it with the tomatoes and not with the onions and garlic. But if you'd like I said, go ahead and add everything to the blender and get it nice and smooth. But you'll see at the end how nice it is to have some of these chunks in with the marinara. I'm gonna go ahead and get all the seasonings added in. This is the sugar, the salt, the pepper, as well as the bay leaves. Get it stirred in nicely, and then I'm gonna allow this to come to a boil. My marinara has now come to a boil. I'm gonna go ahead and get it covered with the lid, turn the heat down and allow it to finish cooking, and then I will show you what it looks like when it's done. My marinara has been cooking now for an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and turn the heat off. You can see some of the chunks, how they've broken down. And again, if you want it smoother, go ahead and puree it all. If you want it to have some of these chunks or a little bit more chunks, however, whatever texture you want to make it, you can go ahead and do that. I like to have these bits of tomatoes running through the marinara. So to this, I'm going to go ahead and tear in some fresh basil. Get that stirred in. And that is all to it. The marinara is done at this stage. Now, you can now take this sauce and get some cooked pasta, toss it together with some pasta, add a little Parmigiano on the top, and maybe a little extra pepper and a little bit of extra torn pieces of basil, and you have yourself a delicious pasta dish in under 10 minutes once you have this done, of course. And that is why I go ahead and double up. Anytime that I'm making double up on recipes like this, because anytime that I'm gonna be cooking something for an hour or more, I'm gonna make my time well worth it. Now, I'm only gonna be using part of this sauce in as a dipping sauce alongside an upcoming recipe, so stay tuned for that one. I'm really happy to share it. And I think you're gonna enjoy it. That's why I'm happy to share it here pretty soon. So keep your eyes out for that. And the rest of the sauce now, I'm gonna be freezing it up just like I do my stocks or my red pepper sauce. I like to freeze these things up because once, especially now that the kids are home, a lot more with COVID, if they want something for lunch, they want pasta for lunch, I can have my marinara all ready, bring it out, heat it up, cook my pasta, which most of them cook in under 10 minutes anyways, put some cheese in there for them or whatever toppings I want to make with that dish. And I mean, I can have lunch on the table for them in under 20 minutes. And so that's why I like to make big batches of things like this. So I encourage you, if you give this recipe a try, which you will not regret it if you do, I think you're gonna love this sauce. Double up on your recipe as well, and that way you have some extra on hand to make pizza or use it as a dipping sauce, especially now with football season going. If you want to make appetizers, you want to make breadsticks, have some marinara on hand, mozzarella sticks. I mean, you can do so much with this marinara sauce. The fact that it's very simple in ingredients as well, where it's just mostly tomatoes and onions and garlic. I mean, it goes along well with so many different dishes. I'm gonna go ahead and give it a taste. Oh, it's so good. I want to double dip, but I won't do it on film. Anyhow, I mean, you have a really good tomato flavor, as well as get a little kick of that freshly ground black pepper in the back. Got some of that basil flavor. And with all the amount of garlic and onions that I use, you would think that it would make this marinara just super strong, but I mean, blending it together the way that I did, it just enhances the flavor, makes it that much more delicious. Anyhow, as always, I thank you for spending time with me here today. I'm going to be sure in the description box below to include a link where you can find the recipe over on my blog down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. Bye.